Hi everyone, I hope you can hear me. My name is Tato Misikari. I am the AWS Partner Development Specialist at First Distribution. We have been an AWS distributor for the Sub-Saharan Africa since 2016. Today I'll be doing a demonstration on two of the core AWS services, being the EC2 and the S3 service. The AWS calculator, pricing calculator, is publicly available. In other words, it can be accessed by anyone. To access the site, you can simply go to calculator.aws. Once you're on the site, if you check at the bottom, it just gives you a description, a brief description of how it all works. Firstly, you'd need to add the services, configure the service, and lastly, view the estimate totals. So let's get to it by clicking the Create Estimate button. AWS has over 200 services and will continue to add services to the new calculator. So in this example, since we'll be doing a demonstration on the EC2 and the S3, I'll go ahead and look for a service that I'll be doing a demo on, which is the EC2. Once you've allocated the service, you can click on the Configure button. Once you're on the configuration page, you are required to select the region where you want your service to be deployed. For this, I'll just choose Africa. You can just click on Change. We are pleased to announce that there are 3 data centers that have gone live in the past couple of months in the Western Cape. So we encourage our partners to deploy their workloads in that region. Okay, so there's 2 types of way of generating an estimate. It's either you can do a quick estimate or an advanced estimate. But in this video, we'll be just doing an estimate on the quick estimate. Okay, so the next thing that you'll be required to do is to configure the EC2 instance specification. The first one would be defining the operating system that will be running on your EC2 instance. You can click on the drop-down button and choose from a list of supported operating system. I'll go for the Windows Server. Once I've selected the operating system, I'll also be required to choose the instance type. There are 2 ways of choosing. It's either you can choose the minimum requirements for an instance type by specifying the values of which being of the virtual CPUs or the amount of RAM you require. And the other one would be searching by name. So if you know the instance that you want to use, you can simply type, for instance, T2. You can just choose T3, for instance, sorry, T3, and then you can just choose the instance that you want. And then at the bottom, you get just a summary of what that EC2's instance specifications, 4 gigs of RAM, as well as 2 virtual CPUs. And it also gives you the performance on the network, which can go up to 5 gigahertz for this specific instance. Okay, the next step, you would be able to choose the amount of instances you want for your deployment or for generating the price. In this example, I'll leave it on 1. Okay, once you've selected the quantity, we now have the option to choose from different pricing models. AWS has 5 pricing models. The first one being the EC2 Instant Savings Plan, which is when a customer commits to a pricing model for either 1 year or 3 years, and also payment options of no upfront, partial upfront, or full upfront. The next one will be the Compute Savings Plan. Same applies. You can choose whether there is a reservation term of 1 year, 3 years, and also choose the different payment options. So I'll just go in more details around the EC2 Instant Savings Plan. This one offers discounts up to 72%. They are less flexible. You commit to individual instance family in a region. For example, you can choose a family of the C5.large, and then you can have an option to change from C5.2x large. So you can change between the same families. Like I mentioned with the C instances, you can't move from C to a different family, which being the T or the C or the R, you can't do that. So you can only stick within the same family. And the other thing, this allows you to change the operating system type as well as the availability zone, which is the three data centers. You can move from one data center to the other. The next one would be the compute savings plan. Offers discounts up to 66%, provides the most flexibility. You can change the region. For example, if you have workloads running in Ireland, you can move those workloads to Cape Town and still apply that savings plan. You can change the family type, move from a C4 family, and you can jump to a different family, being maybe an M5, for instance. This also allows you to change the operating system, and you can also change the availability zone. You also have the option of choosing the standard reserved instance. This also offers discounts up to 72%. You can change the availability zone, instance size, and also the operating system. So if I go for standard reserve instances, you also have an option to choose the reservation term between a minimum of 1 year and 3 years, and also payment options, whether it's no upfront, partial upfront, or full upfront. Another RI would be the convertible reserved instance. This offers up to 54% discount. You can change availability zone, the instance family types, as well as the operating system, and also choose the reservation terms as well as the payment options. Lastly, this is the on-demand instance plan pricing model. So as you can see, the minute I click on the on-demand instance, these are both grayed out because this is a pay-as-you-go model. So meaning that you only pay for what you use. So this can also save you a lot of money if you know how your environment is running. For instance, if you know that your servers need to run from 8 o'clock to 5, you can have them automatically shut down so that when people knock off, the servers are not running, and then you can save costs, and they can only boot the next day at 7 o'clock. To get a detailed pricing calculation, you can click on show calculations, and then you can see how much you'll be paying per month for the on-demand instance. So as you change between the different pricing models, you get to choose show calculations, and you go to pricing calculations to see exactly how much you'll be paying for that instance based on the selections you've made. Okay, then moving right along, we'll move to the Amazon Elastic Block Storage. This is the root hard drive on your instance. So this will be running your operating system. So you get to choose the different types of drives that you want to use. You get as a default the general purpose SSD, or you can choose the Provision IOPS SSD. You can choose the throughput optimized HDD, or cold HDD, and lastly the magnetic, which is the slowest and obviously the cheapest, which is not recommended for running operating system. We recommend that you use an SSD. Okay, another thing that you'll be required to do is choose the amount of storage that you would want on that drive running on your EC2 instance. In this example, I'll just use 1 terabyte as an example, and I'll choose, you get different options of choosing the size type in megabytes, gigabytes, and terabytes. So I'll just go ahead and choose terabyte. Same as the above, you can choose show calculations just to see how AWS is calculating these prices. As you can see, you'll be paying $134 for that 1 terabyte of storage. Once you're happy with your selection, you can scroll up just to ensure you've got everything in place, and you can just go to add to my estimate. Okay, and one other thing, if you need additional hard drives on your EC2 instance, you can simply go to add services. You can search for EBS, Elastic Block Store, click on configure. It's recommended that you choose the region where your EC2 will be running. So for instance, we've chosen Africa for the EC2 instance, so we'll remain using Africa. So the first thing that you'll be required is to choose the number of instances. I'll leave it at 1. 730 is the amount of hours that the hard drive will be running. So meaning that it will be running for a full month. So if you know that your server will be running for half the month, you can insert a number of hours that you desire, but I can just leave it on the full month, running 24/7. Same applies, you choose the different types of EBS volumes, general, provisioned, and so on. The other thing, you can specify how much storage you want on this additional EBS volume. So I'll just choose 1 terabyte. Once you've selected the amount of storage, you also have an option to select snapshots if you want no snapshots, or you want hourly snapshots or daily snapshots. So in this, I'll just choose daily snapshots. The next thing you'll be asked to insert the amount of change per snapshot. This would be your increments. So if you know your increments are more than 3 gigs, you can insert the amount the amount that you want in terms of gigs, megabytes, or terabytes. I'll just leave it at 10 gigs. By default, AWS uses 3 gigs. If you want to drill down on the detailed pricing calculations, you can just choose, you can just select show calculations, and this will give you a detailed pricing of how this was calculated. So for instance, this 134 is the amount that you'll be paying for the 1 terabyte of storage. The $69.85, this would be your initial snapshot together with the increments. So at this, you'll be paying $203 in total for the initial snapshot, for the actual storage, as well as the increments. Once you're happy with that, you can just click on add to my estimate. Okay, so now that we've done the EBS and the EC2, we can just get an overview of how much we'll be paying if we had to do the first 12 months. We'll be paying $4,605. We didn't select the total upfront, meaning that we'll be paying $383 on a monthly basis. Okay, so the next one that I'll be going through will be the S3 storage. I'll go ahead and click on add service. I'll search S3. Once you've located the service, which is right here, Amazon Simple Storage Service, I'll click on the configure button. Once you've clicked on that configure button, you'll also be requested to select the region where you want this data to be hosted. So I'll remain and carry on and use Africa. Since we've been deploying our services in the Africa region, I'll remain using that. AWS has 6 different types of storage classes: the standard, intelligent tiering, standard infrequent access, one zone infrequent access, glacier, and S3 deep archive, and extra features, which is your data transfer and storage management. So in this demonstration, I'll be going through the standard, which are the most common ones. By default, when you choose a standard storage class, when you load your data on S3 and using the standard, it replicates your data across 3 data centers. Hence, they call it the 11 nines of durability. So if one data center goes down, you still have access to your data. And another one that's cool is the S3 intelligent tiering. So this one works based on the data behavior. So if there's data that's frequently accessed, it will automatically move it to the frequently accessed storage class. If there's data that is not as frequently accessed, which is infrequently accessed, it will move it to an infrequently accessed class, as well as archives. If there's data that's not been used maybe in months, it will move it to maybe your Glacier storage class. So that's a really cool one to use if you're not sure how or which storage class to use. And another one would be the S3 standard infrequently accessed. So this one still also has the 11 nines of durability, but it's infrequently accessed, meaning that you don't access the data quite frequently, maybe once a month or twice a month. Another one would be one zone infrequently accessed. So this is not replicated in 3 data centers. It's just one zone, meaning one availability zone. So this is, the data will be saved in one data center, and it's for infrequently accessed, which you have a lower cost since there's no redundancy. Another one would be Glacier, which is meant for archives. So if you want to archive your data, you can select this one. We've also got Glacier Deep Archive. So this is for data that's hardly been used. Maybe if you're going to access the data in 3 years or 2 years, you can select that one, and obviously has the highest savings plan. Okay, so I'll select this, the S3 standard as well as the S3 Glacier, so we can do a cost estimate on those 2. Okay, so the first thing that you'll be required to do is select and enter the amount that you want to store on AWS. So I'll just put 1 terabyte. So this is the data that will be sitting on the standard storage class. For puts copy, it's a matter of having the details. If you have the amount of requests for these certain requests, you can go ahead and put them, but we'll use the data transfer just to get an estimate around the data transfer and the bandwidth that will be required. Okay, so you can also go to show calculations. It will just show you the total cost, monthly cost of how much you pay for the 1 terabyte on a monthly basis on the standard storage class, which will be 28.6 cents. Okay, now we move over to Glacier, which has different options of data retrievals. So I'll just use 1 terabyte as an example and choose that as our monthly size of data that we'll be storing. Same applies if you have all these amount of requests. You can go ahead and insert these requests, but if you don't have them, it's still fine, because we'll use the data transfer option to just get an estimate of how much data will be transferred. So with Glacier, we've got 3 different ways of retrieving our data. So firstly, we've got the standard, expedited, and bulk. So if you know that you want to do a retrieval for standard, you can just insert the amount. For instance, I'll use 500 gigs for the month, and then you can just get a calculation of how much it will cost you to retrieve data on a standard retrieval option. So you pay $10.61. I'll go ahead and put 500 there, 500 there. So based on the time of retrievals for the standard, this will take 3 to 5 hours per gigabyte to retrieve the data. And for expedited, you can pay, how much is it? For expedited, you pay, sorry, let me just start with standard. Standard, you pay $6, and it will take around 3 to 5 hours per gigabyte. And the expedited will be $18. And this takes about 1 to 5 minutes to get your data, but per gig. So, and the last one would be your bulk, which takes about 5 to 12 hours to retrieve, and you pay $1.5 for it. So this is purely dependent on how quick you want to retrieve your data. Then you can choose the data retrieval that you want to use. Once you're happy with this, you can then click on save. Oh no, sorry. The last one would be data transfer, the one that I just mentioned. So with inbound data, this is data to AWS. So inbound, any data that's been uploaded to AWS is free. Even from all the other regions is free. So you're not going to pay anything. So even if I insert 10 terabytes and I go to show calculation, as you can see, there's 0 cost to that. And now the one that you have to pay for charges, it's data, outbound data transfer, meaning when you download data from AWS, you'll be expected to pay a specific fee. For instance, mostly people would choose internet, because that's how we access our data. But if you've got your CloudFront configured, it's free using the edge locations in different regions. And all the other regions, you pay $15 cents per gigabyte, depending on which region it is, because different regions have different pricing models. So we'll go ahead and choose the internet. So in most cases, when we do estimates, I'll just use 200 gigabytes. So this is the bandwidth that we just doing an estimate on. So meaning that we will be using 200 gigs every month to download from our instance. When you click on the show calculation, it will just give you a detailed pricing on how everything is calculated. For instance, the data transfer cost monthly, you'll be paying $30 for this 200 gigs. Once you're happy with that, you can just scroll down, click to add to my estimate. So this is basically what we've done calculations on. We've done calculations on the EC2, the additional EBS volume, as well as the S3. So If you scroll all the way to the top, it will give you the first total monthly cost. There are no upfront, and this is how much you'll be paying on a monthly basis for all the 3 services. When you want to share this with your customers, you can simply click on Save and Share. Okay, once you've done that, you can click on Agree and Continue, and go ahead and simply click on Copy Link. That link, you can simply send it to your customer to review the pricing. And you have got an option to download the pricing and export it via CSV. You can click on Export. Okay, and then as you can see, it's downloaded. Then you can just send that to your customer. Okay, that's it from my side. If any of you have any questions, please leave them on the chat and I'll be sure to get back to you. Thank you so much for joining, guys.